Girl, I can't lie.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a highly requested one, and it's going to be how I make my frontal wigs. So if you want to learn how I make my frontal wigs, just continue watching this video. Okay, so you're going to need a wig stand, and you're also going to need a wig head. This is a foam one that I got from the bee supply store. And I also use a wig cap. I use it from this brand in extra large because I have a really big head. So I put the wig cap on the head, and I make sure that like the lines through the middle of the wig cap align with the center of the head. I'm not sure if you guys can understand what I'm saying, but like just make sure it aligns, okay? I take my frontal and I put it on the head. As you can tell, the wig is already customized. I'll get into that later. Anyway, just make sure that you bring the frontal a bit down. I'd say like an inch or maybe more. I think people do this so that the frontal can actually fit on your head. Anyway, I brush all the hair forward and I tie it with my elastic band that I have on my wrist. Then after that, I take the sides and I pin them down and I make sure they're as straight as possible because I don't want any bumps. And after I do that, I take a curved needle and I also take some thread and I thread the needle. I suck at this, guys. Like I can't thread a needle to save my life. It literally takes me so long. Anyway, so after that, you're gonna have to start sewing the frontal onto the cap. So I make sure that the needle goes through the frontal and the wig cap. And when I pull it down, I make sure that the needle is in between both of the little pieces of thread, as you can see that I'm doing. Then after that, I pull it all the way down, and I pull it like all the way down, but not too down because you want there to be like a little piece of string left, okay? So because with those little strings, you're gonna tie it. You kind of tie it as if like the first step of tying your shoes, kind of when you tie your shoes, that first step. Yeah, you do that. Basically, you take those two strings, you cross them together, you put one under the other, then you tie. Then I cut off the excess string, and after that I start the actual sewing process. Sewing is really easy. I've known how to sew since I was in like 4th grade. But for this, you're just gonna want to make sure that the needle goes through the wig cap and the frontal, then you pull. And you basically do the same thing. I start from the bottom, I make sure that the needle goes through the wig cap first, then it has to go through the frontal, then I pull. And that's basically the process that I use to sew this entire thing. It's so easy, but it takes a lot of time. Oh, and if you're interested in this hair, it is the Brazilain waterway from Longqi.com. Not really .com, it's actually on AliExpress. So I got 122, 120 and 118-inch bundles. Yeah, I got 3 bundles, and the frontal is 16 inches. I really can't give it a good comprehensive review yet because I've only had the hair for like a week, but so far so good. Like, this is the first time that I've ever gotten some sort of hair that's like curly and nice, because I usually stick to straight hair. If you guys know me, you know I love straight hair. I have this long straight unit from Longqi already. I love that wig. Oh wow, looks like we're already getting to the end of the frontal. Okay, so looks like here I'm just going to sew my last couple things. Like I have a couple more like spaces left, so it looks like I'm just sewing the frontal down, making sure it's nice and secure. Once you get to the end of wherever you're sewing, whether it's like a frontal or a bundle, it's really nothing hard. All you really have to do is sew it down. All you really do is sew the last bit of whatever you're sewing left. Then after that, you take the excess string and you cut it. Then after you cut it, you just tie it, kind of like the first step of tying your shoes like I showed you. After that, you're done with sewing your frontal. You can finally move on to the bundles. Yeah. All right, time to actually sew the bundles onto the wig cap. So the first thing I do is I put the needle through the frontal and the bundle, and I mean like the weft of the bundle, not under the bundle. Like I put it through the weft. Then after that, I pin the bundle to where I want it to be, and for this one I double wefted it because it was already cut. I'll get into it later. Then after that, I do the same thing that I did with the frontal, and that is pulling the needle through, then cutting the excess, then with the remaining thread, I tie it together so that there's a knot, so that once I'm sewing it, the sew wouldn't like fall through and make the thing not secure. Then after that, I just continue sewing, and when I sew bundles, I usually go through the bottom of the weft. I don't go through the weft. I only go through the weft when I'm actually starting it, but when I'm in the middle of the sewing process, I go under the weft and I go through the wig cap. And I feel like sometimes when people make their wigs, they forget to go through the wig cap and they only go under the weft. But make sure you go under the weft and through the wig cap. Then after you go through the wig cap, you just pull and you repeat the entire process. So once you get to the end of the bundle, you are going to go through the weft of the hair and go through the wig cap and go through frontal and pull all the way. You do this so that it's really secure, because this is probably going to be like one of the most important parts, because if this is not secure, it will fall through, and honey, you do not want that. All right, so after that, you cut the excess and you tie it. Then after you tie it, you cut the excess from there, and then you are done, girl. You can move on to the next one. Oh, we're already in the next one. Okay, so for this one, I do the fold over method. I don't like to cut my wefts because that causes shedding, and I do not like shedding, so I usually just fold over. Then I pin the places where I want the bundle to stay. Then I double weft it, because I have 3 bundles, and sometimes if I just single weft the entire thing, I won't use all the bundles, and I really like to use all the bundles because I want my hair to be as full as possible, you know, especially with curly hair and like water wave or something like this. It's really important for the hair to be as full as possible. And wow, did I just get off topic? I just did. It's great. And after you double weft it, you just sew like I literally showed you, and this part just repeats itself like over and over and over and over again. And I'm pretty sure you guys already get the point of the whole sewing thing, so I'm not gonna explain it one more time. But if you think that I didn't explain it well, then hopefully a visual representation of what you're supposed to do is more helpful than me talking about it, because I am only a beginner. This is literally the 2nd wig I've ever made ever. Well, technically 3rd, but more like 2nd. I'll get into that. You know, I'll get into that right now. So all right, so I received this hair from Longqi like 2 weeks ago, and I made it into a wig off camera, and that was my fault, because, well, it's actually good I made it because I messed up a lot, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make it off camera. I just did because I wasn't really getting any like video suggestions on saying, oh, you should do a video on how you make your wigs. I just wasn't really getting any of that. So I just thought that you guys didn't want to see it, but you guys actually did. So me messing up and having to start over actually ended up working in the long run. Anyway, so I got the hair, I customized the frontal, and I overplucked one of the sides. And when you have side parts with like your frontals, that's a no-no, because the side part is going to be really like exposed. Like everyone's going to see the side of your head. So you want like the side of the frontal to be plucked really well. And I didn't really do that. So oops, that's one mistake. Huh. So when I was actually creating the wig, I single wefted the entire thing, and that's a no-no too, because I need the hair to look as full as possible. I remember when I made this wig the first time, I only used 2 bundles. Oh my god, and I had 3 bundles, so like the hair was really looking thin, and it was looking like weird and disgusting, and I was like, oh my god, I just messed up this whole wig. I'm gonna have to like recreate this wig, and I don't want to like have to restart all what I just did, you know. And so I was like, you know what, we're not gonna restart it. Instead of restarting the entire wig, let's just find gaps in the wig and just sew the 3rd bundle in between those little gaps in the wig. But in order to do that, you're gonna have to cut the bundles, because the gaps in the wig were in all different places. So I was like, you know what, I'll just cut the 3rd bundle and I'll insert it in these little gaps, and everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be a-okay. So that's what I did, and I ended up using all 3 bundles, thank the Lord. So when I finished making the wig, I tried it on, and I couldn't fit it on my head. You know why? Because it was too small. Like I couldn't even get the frontal all the way to my forehead. That's how bad it was. And it was just so small. It was giving me the biggest headache. And I was like, oh no, I cannot go like this. Like what is causing this problem? So I think long and hard, and I'm just like, oh my god, I used a mesh cap instead of a spandex cap. Oh my gosh. And I was like, oh, I should never do that. I should never ever do that. So now I'm never ever gonna use a spandex. No. Now I'm never ever gonna use a mesh cap ever again. I only use spandex caps, and the spandex caps that I use have to be extra large. That's why I'm using the extra large one here, and that's why the frontal was already customized and like cut and stuff, because I had already made this wig. So I take the entire wig apart, and while I'm taking the wig apart, I go on the YouTube community post and I ask you guys, comment down below what video suggestions that I should do for the summer, because I have a lot more free time now, so I can film a lot more videos. And the top one was how to make a frontal wig, and I was like, you know what, since I'm taking this wig apart, the next time I put it together, I should film it. And that's why I'm filming this video right now. So if it wasn't for messing up the first time, this video would not be here. Alright, so after you're done constructing the wig, it's gonna look a little crazy, but that's okay because you're gonna wash the wig later. But before you wash the wig, you have to fold the wig over and cut off the excess wig cap. This is probably my favorite part of making a wig, because after you do this part, you are like really done with the wig. And it takes me a long time to make wigs, just letting you know. And so this is how the wig looks after I cut the excess wig cap. And it looks a little crazy, I know, but we're gonna wash it. Ooh, looks nice. So if you have straight hair, you do not have to do this step, but I have curly hair, so I'm gonna do this step, and that is basically defining the curls. So I damp the hair with my spray bottle. I make sure it's not dripping wet, but it's like still wet, you know. So I damp the hair, then after that I use my Hawaiian Silky curl activator, and I put that all over the hair. And I love putting this product on because after the hair dries, it makes the curls look so nice, so poppin', and it's gonna look really good like this. Oh my god, it looks cute. I love it. The wig is ready, it's done. Woohoo! Subscribe to my channel, please. Thanks, bye.
Girl, I can't lie. And like a you watch her back it up. She do that, that's what's up.